Welcome to the Anxious Attachment Solution. I am your host, Life Coach Amberlynn. I teach women how to take back their brain from anxious attachment patterns with love and compassion. It is my mission to help every anxiously attached woman understand their brain, stop the anxious cycle, and finally feel confident and secure in who they are so they can live the life they want. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Hello and welcome back to Anxious Attachment Solution. I am your host, Life Coach Amberlynn. Lately, I've been seeing posts on Facebook and Instagram that says, don't trust anyone who says they have the magic tricks or the ability to, quote, heal your anxious attachment. That anxious attachment cannot be healed, and that it takes a lot of work to develop secure traits, and only a psychologist can be trusted. Some people go even as far as to say that anxious attachment can't ever really be healed or changed. So I wanted to come onto my podcast and share my thoughts about this. First, I think counseling and therapy is beneficial to everyone. I think everyone could benefit from the strategies and the skills that you learn in counseling and therapy. And I'm a firm believer that life coaching concepts teach everyday people how to understand their brain, their emotions, their emotional reactions, their attachment responses, and their reactions in a way that allows them to make real changes. You can't make changes when you do not understand the cause or the why something keeps happening. So I believe that you can use life coaching to develop healthy habits for taking care of your mental and emotional health, which I believe has a lot to do with anxious attachment. I believe life coaching concepts should be taught to everyone because I believe it changes lives. The difference between therapy and life coaching to me is that life coaching helps you with your current thoughts and beliefs and helps you in a different way than therapy. Life coaching is future focused and helps a lot with processing emotions while teaching you in the moment strategies for what to do when your anxious attachment is triggered. And it's allowed to ask you inquiring thoughts, empowerment thoughts. It's allowed to question your stories, poke holes in your stories. I really work with clients on understanding their current definitions, their current brain stories, which therapists aren't allowed to do. I do believe that life coaches have to experience anxious attachment. Those who experience anxious attachment can help support you in getting the results that you want in your life if they too have done the work and are able to share with you their actual steps and what they did to get to where they are. I say that a life coach only needs to be 5 steps ahead of you because that's where I want to be. I also do believe that if someone is trying to sell you quick fixes, that it is a problem. I do not believe there are any magic tricks or quick healings that can magically rid your nervous system of its triggers or rewire your brain responses to these triggers. However, I do believe that a small and quick strategies implemented every day on purpose and with intention can start changing things right away. I do believe life coaching offers you understanding, strategy, and real life skills that help you start implementing things right away. When we do the work of self-awareness, thought work, and we practice new reactions and coping mechanisms on purpose, we accelerate our transformation. We accelerate our development of new habits, new coping strategies, and we begin to feel more secure. I'm here to tell you that thought work is not a magic pill, but it is a true skill that will get you so much closer to where you want to be in life and in relationships. I see thought work as the strategy or the skill I use to develop mental and emotional health and mental and emotional balance. The strategy I use to soothe my anxious attachment when it's triggered so that I can show up the way that I want to. I created this podcast as a person with anxious attachment who has used life coaching skills, concepts, and strategies like thought work and the anxious attachment cycle to soothe my anxious attachment and create new habits with purpose and intention. So I come here and I show it all to you so that you can do the same. So do I believe that I can rewire my brain? Do I believe that you can rewire your anxious attachment, triggers, and responses? I do. I do believe you can really rewire your anxious attachment. I really do believe that you can create new habits when your anxious attachment is triggered. I do not believe that we have to be a forever victim of our anxious attachment. I do not believe anyone is too far gone, too anxiously attached, too broken, too anything to do this work. I genuinely and wholeheartedly believe that every person who wants to do this work, who has the smallest desire to make a change, who has the want to change their habits and their thought patterns, is capable of doing it. I believe that every human is capable of change that they wish to see in themselves. That is why I do this podcast. That is why I started my coaching programs, because I remember not believing in myself. I remember thinking it is always going to be like this. I remember not believing that I could change. So I am here to show you that it is possible. I am here on this podcast weekly to tell you that you can change your responses. You can change how you talk to yourself. You can change how you think about yourself. You can change the way you think about you in relationships. You can change what you believe about love, what you believe about yourself in love, what you believe about your lovability, what you believe about your self-worth. When you change the way you think about these things, you change your beliefs about yourself, relationships, problems. You open your mind to different perspectives. You learn how to manage your thoughts, feel your feelings, and learn how to be more objective instead of judgmental. You learn how you may have a story or two that tells you what love should look like, what love should feel like, and it is set in a perfectionist view. What is holding you back right now is simple. It is your thoughts you are currently thinking. It is the story you keep telling yourself. So before you can move forward, you first have to figure out, what am I currently thinking? What are the stories I have around love, happiness, joy, relationships? What story do I have about my partner? What story do I have about how my partner should show up for me if they loved me? Seriously, take time to ask yourself these questions and answer them. I was coaching somebody last week, and they talked about how they kept having the thought, if my partner loved me, they would fill in the blank. So I asked them, well, how often would they have to do that for them to show you that they loved you? Turns out, my client had this perception that if their partner loved them, they would do this thing 100% of the time, right when she needed it. We realized that she had an unhuman expectation of her partner. Not on purpose, brain automatic responses, because she never questioned this belief or this thought she had. Her brain was telling her story about how much they loved her was based on this superhuman expectation. So I asked her, in what other ways do they show you they love you? In what other ways could it be true that they love you? Why is it so important that they do this thing for you? What do you make it mean when they do this thing? Us with anxious attachment also don't like problems, conflict, or miscommunications or hurt feelings, because right away we instantly think that means something has gone terribly, horribly wrong, and that we're not really in love, and that this will never work out. But as a life coach, I'm here to teach you how to ask yourself powerful questions. Why can't there be misunderstandings, miscommunications, hurt feelings? What do we make it mean when these things happen? What if these things are entirely a part of a healthy relationship, a loving relationship, a soulful soulmate relationship? A lot of the time, us with anxious attachment are hyper-focused on what we perceive as red flags, or any indication that someone may eventually hurt us, leave us, reject us, or break up with us and break our heart into a gazillion pieces. So we don't leave room for the 50-50 of relationships. We don't leave room for miscommunications, hurt feelings, being misunderstood, not feeling loved 1,000% of the time. But as a life coach, I am here to tell you, just like life is 50-50, love and relationships are 50-50. 50% amazing, loving, romantic, and 50% not so much. Because it involves two really, very real humans in a very real human experience in life where nothing is ever perfect, at least not for long, which can be an entire podcast of its own. I have to pause right now to say, I'm not saying that sometimes we have chosen the wrong, bad, inappropriate match partners for ourselves, and some that just outright suck. And if this is true for you, then you need to ask yourself a whole set of different questions. Why are you choosing to be in this relationship? Why don't you believe you deserve more? On my podcast, I am typically talking to anxiously attached women who are in relationships, dating, or trying to date appropriately matched humans, non-abusive partners, and partners who are really are trying to be the partner in a relationship with us. So keep that in mind. I am never using thought work with clients or my podcast listeners to help them stay in abusive relationships, to stay in neglectful relationships, or to gaslight themselves into believing someone loves them when they do not. This podcast is written for viewers who are in dating situationships with people who typically have their best intentions and best foot forwards. So back to our podcast. So we can rewire our brain. We can rewire our reactions. We can learn how to look at thoughts and feelings in a new way. It allows us room to be human. It allows our partner room to be human too. It allows us to have a brain response we don't like, feelings that feel heavy and a lot, and sometimes overwhelming, and the choice and room to decide how we want to show up and go forward after we feel this brain response and trigger. When we learn life coaching tools and strategies, we learn how to develop this space for ourselves. We absolutely can develop more secure traits. It does take doing the work, though. It does take being aware of your current thoughts, your current stories, and it does take courage to look at these beliefs and decide, do I want to keep this belief or do I want something different? Do you like these results these stories are creating in your life, or do you want different results? It really does take learning how to redefine some current definitions we have about love, relationships, humans. And it does take looking at and questioning certain thoughts, perspectives, and beliefs and deciding, do I want to keep these, or what is human? What is realistic in this human world instead of this perfectionist fantasy relationship world? We get to pause and look at what our automatic brain is making something mean and know that it is just a story. It is not fact. We get to choose what we want to make things mean. Do we really want our partner not taking out the trash mean they don't love and respect us? Do we really want our partner not texting us like we want them to mean they don't love us and don't want to be with us? What could it mean instead? What if we could just look at the facts and not make it mean something about our lovability or our worthiness? Life coaching has done this for me. Learning how to look at situations, see what my brain is making it mean, and most often my brain is making it mean something about my lovability, my self-worth, my worthiness, and I'm allowed to and able to bring out the actual facts. The fact is, You may not like when your partner doesn't take out the trash because you guys have different expectations about when and how the trash should be taken out. But it really has nothing to do with love or respect. That's the story your brain is telling you because most likely society has taught you that. The fact is, when your partner doesn't text you back, you make it mean they don't love you, and it makes you anxious. So you may have to look at your thoughts and manage your feelings about your partner's texting habit. Are you allowed to want your partner to be different than they are? Sure you are, but it will cost you greatly. I will do a whole podcast on manuals and our expectations that we place on the humans in our lives. I will leave you with this. When we want our partner to be different than they are, we're resisting reality. And that creates suffering. Whenever you're resisting what is, it creates suffering. If your partner has never done XYZ in the timeline you have prepared, expecting them to do it this time sets you both up for failure and suffering. When we learn to accept people for who they are, we get to decide to love them for who they are or not, to be in a relationship with them or not. We choose to stay with someone who we want to change or we wish we could just change. We are only creating suffering. This is a choice, and it is a choice that benefits no one in the relationship. Which leads me to, you can rewire your anxious attachment. You can develop self-confidence. You can create secure self-worth inside of you. You can increase your joy. You can grow your capacity for rejection, fear, doubt, and insecurities. And you will never be able to change anyone else. There is only one person in this world that you are capable of rewiring, reprogramming, and changing, and it's yourself. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it is reality. It is hard enough for us to make our own changes to our own habits, our own reactions, our own wiring, that it is humanly impossible to make someone else change. Your time, energy, and efforts would be so much better spent becoming the you want to be, doing the work in you so you can create the results you like to see in you, in your relationships, in your life. You may be focused on them when you need to turn the magnifying glass towards you. Have you done the work? How am I taking this, what is happening right now? What are my thoughts? How do they make me feel? Is this relationship what I really want? Do I even like them? Are they who they want? Are they who I want to be with? See, even then my brain wanted to talk about them. So often we, with anxious attachment, make all of their actions mean something about how they feel about us. We also spend our entire time worried about how they think and feel about us, that we don't ever really take time to think about how we feel about them. If you want to learn more about how to do this work, I have 6 spots open in my one-on-one coaching program. Let's do this work together. I will work with you for 1 hour a week focused on what you need. Email me at amberlynn@takingbackherbrain.com consultation, and we will set up our 1 hour consultation for free to get you started. I also will be hosting a 5-day Anxious Attachment Boot Camp in June 24, 2025 through June 28, 2025. I will be going live on Zoom, teaching and coaching about anxious attachment and how to rewire your brain to get the relationship you want. My live coaching will be at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I would love for you to join and come live. Trust me, you do not want to miss this free boot camp. Email me at amberlynn@takingbackherbrain.com, Anxious Attachment Bootcamp, for all the details. Or go follow me on Instagram at Anxious Attachment Solution and DM me Bootcamp to get on the wait list now. You will not want to miss this opportunity. Thank you so much for joining me today on today's podcast. Go do the work. It is with you. I believe in you. Don't forget to share this podcast with the people in your life that you know can benefit from it. And also, if you don't mind and you have a minute, go rate the podcast. If you are enjoying learning what you're learning, go rate and like the podcast on Apple Music or Spotify. And if you have any questions, email me. I do respond to my podcast listeners because I appreciate you. And I am here for you. Now, go have a great day. Thank you for joining me today. You are going to want my free guide on how to calm your anxious attachment. So head over to my Instagram, Taking Back Her Brain, and grab it. If this podcast resonated with you, I would really appreciate if you would rate and share it. If you have any questions or want to know more about how to work with me, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at amberlynn@takingbackherbrain.com. Can't wait to hear from you.